Hello and welcome to Hasu Hour. I'm your host Zerg, and our matchup today is Protoss versus Zerg on Lerilak Crest. Representing the Protoss forces is PitDrogo, and the Zerg over here is Elazer. These are both pretty good players, Grandmaster skill, represented by serious teams, and the Zerg here is opening with a fast expansion build. The Protoss is doing the same, saving up minerals and going directly for a Nexus first. This is a pretty strong build in Legacy of the Void because the current meta is that most players are opening up with a fast expansion at the top level. So this is sort of taking that into account, and you'll see he doesn't go for a forge, instead he just opts for a gateway. And this is like an adaptation in a sense that the less aggressive people are early on, the more it pays to invest more in tech and in eco than in defenses or military. The Zerg getting gas quickly, throwing down a spawning pool, of course, the most basic level tech required to do anything, pretty much. And he does send a scouting overlord into the Protoss base just to see what's going on, to see what sort of buildings the Protoss player has, to check out that, determine whether or not he's expanded already. And you see this building formation here by the Protoss player. The way he's got both of his gateways set up, he can put just one Zealot or Adept in between this gap here and effectively prevent any sort of Ling run by or really Ling attack, because the Lings are going to trade off so inefficiently in single file combat against a Zealot. So that's a pretty nice defensive posture. And we see the initial double adept pump here with the chrono boost ability. So he's going to get these adepts out pretty quickly, and he's got both chrono boost working, which is a kind of a nice aggressive idea. Get these early adepts out, get over to your opponent's base, and do some harass. See if you can hurt their eco, at the very least, maybe cause some havoc within the enemy base. So the adepts are approaching to the Zerg base, and they're going to use their shade here to jump past the queens, accomplishing a little bit there, taking out one of the creep tumors, getting a drone kill. A second drone goes down, very nice targeting. A third drone now, four drone kills. And let's take a look at this harvester count. So already a pretty nice harvester edge here for the Protoss player. Zergling counter with the speed upgrade in effect. And the Lings now coming across a somewhat undefended natural, but the photon overcharge is going to force them back, and they're not going to be able to get in the main because of this very nice defensive posture with the adepts and the buildings. So the Lings not really able to cause much damage in terms of a counter attack, and they are going to be forced to flee in their weakened number. Third base now for the Zerg player. Meanwhile, an Oracle approaching the Zerg bases, and the Queen is going to try to take it on. They're getting a couple hits, but the Oracle manages to kill two drones and also taking a larva before flying away. Very aggressive opening for the Protoss player so far, which is really working in his favor. He's got 11 additional supply, and he's forced the Zerg to be defensive all game. It's very good to be aggressive. You want to attack. You want to try to do some damage. The Shades now taking the top route to the Zerg main. Lings trying to find some sort of weakness in the armor, but the SimCity defense there just completely holding him off. And this is a lot of adepts early on in the game, considering the Zerg does not really have a lot of defenses. The Queen is going to go down pretty quickly. Three volleys took it out, and those Lings not very strong against the adepts. The Roaches are more of a hard counter, but the Shades easily bypassing the Roach presence in the main and forcing the Zerg to sort of split up his Roach and try to defend both bases. And interesting retreat here. I guess he figures that the Roaches are too strong versus the adepts. He doesn't want to lose this force, and he's sort of done all that he needed to do there, prevented the Zerg from just droning too hard. Although the Zerg player here has managed to get saturation mining at his main and his natural. So once he gets his third fully online, he is going to have powerful income. Protoss player grabs his third Expo, trying to keep up, and still doing some harass here with the Oracles, and gets a drone kill, forces the Zerg to pull his guys off of gas, but this Spore doing an excellent job there protecting the mid line with the Queen backup, and the Oracles are going to retreat. Void Ray play nailed from the Toss player. Very imaginative play so far, very aggressive attacking play, and nice tech harass. You really got to appreciate this guy's heart and his pretty neat style so far. Tech harass games are always a lot of fun to watch, and even more fun to pull off microing these units. And the Void Ray is kind of a neat idea, just to clear out any sort of hovering overlords, as well as having the ability to hit ground, which is something the Phoenix lacks. Although Phoenix play is a little more common in PvZ just because of the maneuverability of the Phoenix unit. Oracle scouting and harassing here a little bit. They are going to spot this morphing lurker den, which is something that the Protoss player is going to have to take into account. He already does have his Robs Bay, so he might want to produce some Obs. And the Toss here attacking some rocks. Both players pretty even in supply. The Toss still slightly ahead, but not by much. In fact, the other Zerg player pulling ahead just a little bit. Nice creep spread across the map. Very close to the Protoss main. Although that is going to be neutralized a bit by this push here. Heavy Zealot Adept Sentry composition. Fighting against Hydra, Ravager for the most part. A few Roaches too. Revelation is cast, giving the Protoss player that critical vision needed to maneuver tactically in these battles. One Hydra getting left behind there. Corrosive Biles missing the Protoss force. And it looks like we might see a very close confrontation here. The Zealots trying to get in position. A little SimCity defense by the Zerg. And the Lurkers here doing a pretty good job defensively, combined with the Zerg forces. The Protoss forced to retreat back to his morphing Zealots. A couple of sentries here doing very nice force fields, allowing him to get some kills. The Zerg stasis units are about to unstasis, or yeah, there they go. And the Zerg now forcing a brief retreat as the Protoss tries to morph some Archons here and get some splash damage into his unit composition. This fourth base completely exposed, but he is going to be able to defend it. And a dropship loaded here by the Protoss player with a 4 Zealot cargo. This is an excellent mid-game threat because it's pretty inexpensive and it doesn't really matter if you do that much damage with it. but it can cause a lot of havoc if your opponent doesn't react in time. With both armies confronting each other in the middle, the Protoss has to retreat from the forces here, as he does not have an obs with him, and he is going to warp in another 8 Zealots, and meanwhile clean up some string units there. The hatchery is going down, and this is a devastating blow to the Zerg player, losing one of his main sources of income. He is going to fall behind economically, although he's getting good value from this mid lurker. 3 bases for the Zerg to 4 bases for the Toss once this comes online. So he is going to have to do something to equalize here. Eventually he will get the second base back, but this is a long time to be out ecoed. And it looks like the Zerg is going for an attack. He's morphing some more Ravagers and Lurkers here. Pretty much a Roach force. They managed to get a Disruptor kill. That is huge at this stage right here. Those Disruptors, if left unchecked, can be extremely dangerous to a massed Zerg army. But the Protoss army closing in on the Zerg attacking forces, and he's picking off this stray grouping. The Purification Nova does not go off, but the Mothership Core now coming into the defense and sandwiching the Zerg forces between the Protoss army and the Photon Overcharge. That is a brutal blow. Meanwhile, Lurkers disrupting the mining here. The Protoss player did manage to save a lot of his probes. You can see they're all at the Vestian, and he is going to finally clear out those Lurkers, but that was a pretty nice attack. Unfortunately for the Zerg player, Drogo's quick response time managed to save a lot of his workers there. That had the potential to be absolutely devastating. And Zealot's not really doing too much trying to attack this base here. Pretty nice supply edge for the Protoss player, and it does not look like he's going to sit on his lead. He is going to be aggressive, and it doesn't really look like he has an opt here in these forces. So he's not going to... Oh, but he took out the Lurker with the Disruptor. Very nice. And he does actually have an ops. Excuse me. So three bases for the Zerg, 4 for the Toss. Both mains getting pretty mined out here. The Zerg still does have a little life left in his. Supply count-wise, the Protoss player way ahead. He's been winning battles, but 2 Disruptors caught away from the rest of his forces, but they are going to be able to survive and even fire a Purification Nova at the lurks that were harassing him. And that is all, ladies and gentlemen. Phenomenal.